this afternoon. In your name we pray. Amen. Good afternoon once again, everybody. My name is Trudy Christian, and I am the organizer of the Intersecondary Schools Debating Competition. And this afternoon I will be your moderator. And as I said, I am grateful that we have all come here this afternoon to engage in this final debate of round 2 of the 2025 edition of the Intersecondary Schools Debating Competition. This afternoon, we are here to witness the Pierre Charles Secondary School and the Portsmouth Secondary School debate on the topic during the festive seasons in Dominica imposed on adolescents below the age of 18. That's the topic up for debate this afternoon. Before I introduce our judges for this afternoon's debate, let me remind you of some of the rules or expectations for the debate. The debate will proceed firstly with a prepared presentation segment where the first speaker from each team will deliver their arguments for 10 minutes, and then the second speaker from each team will deliver their arguments for 7 minutes. After this time, we will be very quiet for 5 minutes and give the debaters the chance to prepare for the rebuttal. The rebuttal, each lead speaker of each team will have 3 minutes in which to deliver a rebuttal for this debate this afternoon. We expect and we anticipate that everyone will, at this time, make sure that their phones are on silent or off so as to not disturb the proceedings this afternoon. We also ask that you withhold any applause or outbursts until the end of each speaker's presentation. So during the debate, please allow the speakers the time and the silence to present their arguments. Okay, so these are just some of the rules. And for our listening audience on MO News and Dominica News Online, good afternoon to you. I have just apprised the audience here of the rules, and so you two listening are also aware of the rules. Now, let's introduce the judges for this afternoon's debate. We have a panel of 3 judges this afternoon, and the chief judge this afternoon, through unanimous decision amongst the judges, the chief judge this afternoon is Ms. Joanne Commodore, and she is the permanent secretary in the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs. She earned her degree at the UWK campus in 2005, where she studied legal education. Prior to this role, Ms. Commodore served as the Deputy Registrar in the State Attorney's Office. Please welcome the Chief Judge this afternoon, Ms. Joanne Commodore. Ms. Commodore. So she'll be the Chief Judge. She'll be ably assisted by the 2 other judges. Andrea Christian is one of them. She is a retired secondary school principal after spending 46 years in the field of education. Mrs. Christian, it's been a few years for me and I'm tired already, so kudos on the 46. She has worked with the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme and Adventure Clubs, and she enjoys sightseeing, sharing information on Dominica, and working with young people. We welcome to the judging panel, Mrs. Andrea Christian. And the 3rd judge this afternoon is Mrs. Elizabeth Daly. She holds a master's degree in educational leadership and management, and she's the former principal of the Massac, Goodwill, and Soufriere primary schools, and also served as the deputy principal for many schools. Mrs. Daly, to you too. I mean, I'm tired after being the head of the State College for a year. I don't know principal for all of those schools. That's commendable. Mrs. Daly has a passion for education and now spends her free time gardening. Welcome to the judging panel, Mrs. Elizabeth So, ladies and gentlemen, these are our three judges for this afternoon. Let me introduce the debaters, the stars of this afternoon's proceedings. The Pierre Charles Secondary School will be proposing the topic. During the festive seasons in Dominica, there should be a 9 p.m. curfew imposed on adolescents below the age of 18. Representing the Pierre Charles Secondary School is, and debaters, when I call you, you will come forward and assume your positions. Representing the Pierre Charles Secondary School is Ms. Shenika Alexander. She's a fourth form science student and she loves theater arts. This is what I was told. I would like to welcome Ms. Shenika Alexander, first speaker from the Pierre Charles. The second speaker representing the Pierre Charles Secondary School is Ms. Myra Dover. Ms. Dover is a fourth former as well. She's a business student and she told me that she enjoys doing crafts and she even makes bracelets and other things for sale. So please patronize her if you can. Ms. Myra Dover, second speaker of the Pierre Charles Secondary School. Opposing the moot will be the Portsmouth Secondary School. And the Portsmouth Secondary School is represented by Miss Malia Etienne. And Miss Etienne is a former science student. And a little birdie told me that she loves solitaire. She didn't want me to say that, but she loves solitaire. And she's also a part of numerous clubs, including the Kiddie Club and the Choral Speech Club. We welcome Miss Malia Etienne. First speaker from the Portsmouth Secondary School. And the second speaker from the Portsmouth Secondary School will be Miss Roxanne Andre. Roxanne is a fourth former as well. She's a sports enthusiast. She plays several sports and she also told me that she enjoys Spanish and mathematics. Welcome, Miss Roxanne Andre. So here you have it, the debaters are in position. We have already introduced the judges for this afternoon's debate. Audience, I have apprised you of some of the rules, and listening audience or virtual audience, also you have heard the rules, and I think we are set and ready to go. Debaters, when you are presenting, there will be a timekeeper who is seated directly in front of you. She will indicate to you when you have 1 minute left, and then finally when time is up by showing a placard. And please pay attention to that signal that you will receive from the timekeeper. Ms. Kyla Felix will be assisting me this afternoon as the timekeeper. Okay, so as we say in debate and sometimes in wrestling, let's get ready to rumble. Once again, the topic for this afternoon's debate: during the festive seasons in Dominica, there should be a 9 p.m. curfew imposed on adolescents below the age of 18. I'll call now on the first speaker from the proposing team from the Pierre Charles Secondary School, Ms. Shenika Alexander, to deliver her arguments. She will have 10 minutes in which to do so. Ms. Alexander?
Madam Moderator, esteemed judges, will-be opponents and fellow audience members, good afternoon. Imagine picking a mango before it is fully ripe. Though it is soft, sour, and lack that sweetness that comes with time. Similarly, Adolescence is a process that must unfold naturally. When young people are given too much freedom too soon, they are forced to grow up prematurely. This is why I say they have become aborted adolescents. Is it fair to let our children face the world's dangers before they are ready? Wander in the streets unprotected? I say no. This is why I strongly support a 9 p.m. curfew for adolescents under 18 during festive seasons. Before presenting reasons for this curfew, let's define key terms. 1. Adolescent. The World Health Organization defines an adolescent as anyone aged 10 to 19. 2. Festive season. Collins English Dictionary defines a festive season as the holiday season. In Dominica, this includes independence celebration from October to November and carnival from February to March. And 3. Curfews. Merriam-Webster defined a curfew as a rule requiring someone, typically a child, to be home by a set time, in this case, 9 p.m. With these definitions in mind, curfews are designed to 1. Safeguard our youth, and 2. Provide structure and support mental health and academic success. Let's begin with structure. Research shows that crime rates spike after dark. Cohen et al. 2024, in understanding the link between temperature and crime, found that criminal activity peaks between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Drug festive seasons after 9 p.m. with larger crowds and increased alcohol consumption. Danger is likely to escalate. If data proves that risk heightened after dark, why would we allow our most vulnerable, our adolescents, to remain unsupervised during these hours? While homicides declared by 2024, Assistant Commissioner Jeffrey James, in a DNO article titled Murder Rate Decline During Related Crimes Increase in 2024, stated that illegal firearm possession, drunk driving, and theft increased during festive season. Consider these tragic incidents during past festive season. In 2016, 2 separate wounding incidents occurred in Granby and Roseau, while a devastating drunk driving accident claimed the life of a 3-year-old, Maguesa. In 2017, a shooting on Carnival Tuesday in Stock Farm left David Henderson gravely injured. And in 2023, a brutal murder on Carnival's opening day and a stabbing at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium sent shockwaves throughout our community. These heartbreaking events are not isolated, despite measures aimed to reduce crime, like the 2024 Carnival Order subsection 4A, which prohibits carrying lighted torch or weapon during the carnival season. Firearms remain a significant threat, raising concerns about the effectiveness of current policies and protect youth. Implementing a 9 p.m. curfew for adolescents under 18 would not protect them from harm. Let me make myself clear, would protect them from harm and reduce the risk of early death. To my esteemed opponents, if you think this is too extreme, look at the current state of Dominica's healthcare system. In 2024, Dominica China Friendship Hospital, DCFH, announced the suspension of elective surgeries due to critical shortages of medical supplies, such as pethidine, a painkiller, and surgical needles. According to a DNO article titled, DCFH suspends surgery due to lack of medical supplies. This means that any adolescents injured during the carnival or independence season may not receive the care they need. So, with law enforcement unable to fully prevent crime and hospitals lacking resources, A curfew is a vital measure to protect you from potential fatal situations. Moreover, Dominica is becoming more accessible with direct flights now operating from places like Miami, including a recent addition of United Airlines non-stop services. This improved connectivity is expected to bring a surge of international visitors, particularly during high-profile events like the World Current Music Festival. Additionally, the global popularity of booyah music with hits like Someone Else, I Hope You Find Someone Else, reaching 7 million views on YouTube, is attracting more attention to the festival. As festival draws more unfamiliar faces, the presence of strangers heightens the risk of our adolescents, exposing them to new people, potential dangers, and lack of security. Stranger danger! A curfew would help safeguard our youth, ensuring their protection even as the number of visitors increase during festivities. It will ensure they are home before things get wild, wild, wild. Late night exposure to risk-high events not only threatens physical well-being, but also disrupts mental health and academic success. Which brings us to point number 2. Structure is the foundation of success. Rules and boundaries are not meant to stifle joy. They help young people make better decisions and not cultivate responsibilities. The American Academy of Pediatrics has emphasized that setting limits helps adolescents develop essential social and emotional skills, teaching them to disengage from harmful situations and prioritize their studies and future aspirations. Moreover, a study by YINX 2024 titled The Relationship Between Factors of Sleeping Disturbance and Depressive Symptoms in Adolescents found that teenagers whose parents enforced a bedtime of 10 p.m. were significantly less likely to experience depression or suicidal thoughts compared to those allowed to stay up late nights. This is not a mere coincidence. This is the result of a well-regulated routine that nurtures mental health. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommend that adolescents aged 13 to 18 get 8 to 10 hours of sleep each night. But late night disrupts their sleep structure. If a teen gets this amount of sleep, studies by Tintin et al. 2024 and Lu et al. 2024 shows that adequate amount of sleep improves memory and concentration, boosting academic performance by as much as 25%. Imagine the alternative, a generation of students whose academic potential is compromised by late nights and chaotic schedules. We cannot pretend that late night festivities have no impact on school performance. A tired mind is an unproductive mind. How can we expect students to focus in class if they are up all night simmering? Can they fully engage in their classes when they are struggling to keep their eyes open? They have a "see-what tonight, but a fail tomorrow" mindset. Recent data from the Caribbean Examination Council 2024 paints a grim picture. Only 4.9% of students pass 5 or more subjects, and a mere 36% pass mathematics. In addition, educators at our PCSS reported that after festive seasons, students' performance declined dramatically, with 46% of teachers saying performance was significantly worse, and 54% noting it was slightly worse. Can we afford to lose the promise of our future simply because we fail to set proper boundaries? Shouldn't a proper education be the priority of an adolescent? Think about it. Madam Moderator, judges, and esteemed audience, a 9 p.m. curfew reduces exposure to crime and violence, promotes mental health and academic success, and lays the foundation for a thriving future. To my opponents, let's not rush life. We will have all the time in the world to see woe at 9 p.m. Let us wait until we have a solid academic foundation and we are ripe enough to navigate these risky environments. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanika, for the judges. Her time was 11 minutes and 2 seconds. I will now call on the first speaker from the opposing team from the Portsmouth Secondary School, and that's Miss Malia Etienne, to the podium to deliver her argument. She has 10 minutes in which to do so. Miss Etienne.
That forgets to distinguish between innocence and guilt in its citizens may end up with citizens who no longer care about or respect the difference in their actions. Let us reflect on the words of the Americans for a Society Free from Age Restrictions. Honorable judges, Madam Moderator, members of the listening audience, and my most worthy opponents, a pleasant good afternoon. Today's debate topic is certainly intriguing. As a young person living in Dominica, I am concerned about the negative impacts of a proposed legislation that would impose a 9 p.m. curfew on adolescents under the age of 18. Ladies and gentlemen, is it fair to punish all adolescents for the actions of a few? Should responsible young people be denied the opportunity to celebrate and engage in their culture simply because of an imposed restriction? This afternoon, my partner and I will challenge the notion that a 9 p.m. curfew should be imposed on adolescents during festive seasons in Dominica. I will expose the flaws in this proposed curfew by highlighting the negative psychological and social impacts on adolescents, the unnecessary strain it places on law enforcement, and how it undermines parental authority in shaping their children's social lives. However, before we delve into the core of the argument, permit me to highlight the key terms in the mood. The Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines festive season as a merry, lively, and cheerful event or holiday. Widely recognized festive seasons include Christmas, Carnival, and independence celebrations, just to name a few. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, the term curfew refers to a rule that everyone or a group of people must stay at home between particular times, usually at night. The World Health Organization defines an adolescent as one in the phase of life between childhood and adulthood from ages 10 to 19. It is also described as a critical time when people become independent, forge new relationships, develop social skills, and learn behaviors that will last the rest of their lives. Honorable judges, imposing the 9 p.m. curfew may have negative psychological effects on the development of an adolescent. An adolescent is one stage away from becoming an adult. Adults are expected to make responsible decisions. Thus, young people should be provided with ample occasions where they can practice their decision-making skills. Festive seasons also serve as an opportunity for adolescents to practice responsibility, decision-making, and time management. Permitting adolescents to participate in festivities without an early curfew will allow them to engage responsibly while enjoying their social experiences. A curfew also restricts adolescent independence and may even provoke rebellion. Psychologist Eric Erickson asserts that adolescence is a critical stage for identity formation and the exploration of freedom. Strict rules can feel like an infringement on autonomy, fostering resentment and defiance as young people seek to regain control. Erickson's theory not only supports our arguments, but also highlights a crucial reality. A curfew during festivities could push adolescents toward riskier behavior rather than ensuring their safety. Festive seasons also provide an avenue to create special memories. Facilitating adolescents to stay out later will allow them to experience personal growth, increased confidence, and independence that is needed as they grow older. These childhood experiences will assist in molding a more grounded adult. On the contrary, an adult who lacks such experiences may constantly search for his or her childhood and tend to feel incomplete. The implementation of a curfew may not only cause psychological effects, but may impede the social growth of our adolescents. Festival celebrations are ideal for socialization and also create a network to build strong friendships. According to Newport Academy's article, "Are teens' curfews good for mental health? Inadequate connection to friends and peers may lead to loneliness, isolation, depression, and anxiety." Allowing adolescents to participate in the festivities without a curfew helps them build social skills and connect with their peers. For instance, at the majority of secondary schools in Dominica, the students come from various catchment areas. Thus, students embrace the festive seasons when they can get to spend time with their peers outside of the school setting. My worthy opponents, would you want to destroy such opportunities for our young people to socialize? Moreover, during the festive season, there is a dire need for the presence of law enforcement to ensure that peace and tranquility are maintained. In an article on Dominica News Online, dated October 26, 2023, the Deputy Police Chief, Lincoln Corbett, stated that the police force is mandated by law to provide security and control at all public events. He also highlighted measures to heighten security at the World Creole Music Festival that year. Tremendous resources are being employed to ensure safety at such events. Now consider that a curfew had to be implemented. Police officers would have to be deployed to ensure that this law is followed. Definitely, this unnecessary attention would put a strain on law enforcement and may divert their concentration from more severe issues. Therefore, the implementation of this curfew could become more chaotic and would eventually affect the effectiveness of crime prevention and public safety. Finally, imposing a curfew on adolescents during festive seasons undermines parental authority in shaping their children's social lives. Parents are responsible for ensuring that their children's security and social development, a role explicitly recognized by Article 5 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of a Child, UNCRC, which affirms that parents and legal guardians have both the right and duty to provide appropriate direction and guidance in line with a child's evolving capacities. Consider this. A study conducted by Kids Fruit Smoothie brand revealed the top 4 things young people feel they lack. 59% cited quality time, 51% good nutrition, 42% laughter and fun, and 25% time spent outdoors. This underscores the critical role of parents in shaping their children's social lives through active engagement and shared experiences. My worthy opponents, You may ask, how does a festival contribute to this role? Allow me to clarify. Festive events create a space for families to bond beyond the confines of intimate gatherings. These events help foster healthy interaction, strengthen family ties, and contribute to the emotional well-being of young people. Therefore, Madam Moderator, a state-imposed curfew would unjustly restrict parents' ability to guide their children's social experiences, weakening their role in fostering well-rounded, socially adept individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence speaks for itself. A 9 p.m. curfew would do far more harm than good. It would stifle adolescent social and emotional development, divert law enforcement from addressing serious crimes, and strip parents of their rightful authority in guiding their children's social lives. Are we truly willing to sacrifice parental influence and effective policing for a misguided sense of control? Let us not allow fear to dictate policies that infringe on the rights and experiences of young people. For these reasons, I stand firm in rejecting these curfew proposals. Adolescents deserve guidance, not unnecessary restrictions. I thank you.
Thank you, Malia. For the judges, her time was 9 minutes and 53 seconds. I'll now call to the podium the second speaker from the proposing team from the Pierre Charles Secondary School, Ms. Myra Dover, to deliver her argument. She has 7 minutes in which to do so. Ms. Dover.
A former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Benjamin Disraeli, once stated, and I quote, "The youth of a nation are the trustees of prosperity." Madam Moderator, esteemed judges, worthy opponents, and the audience, good afternoon. Our adolescents are the future of Dominica. They are full of promise, potential, and dreams. Should we take action to protect and guide them? My colleague, Ms. Alexander, has already presented a solid case. I will highlight how a 9 p.m. curfew can help curb underage drinking and examine the success of other countries in reducing juvenile crime. To begin, let's address one of the most dangerous aspects of unsupervised adolescent participation in festive events: underage drinking. Underage drinking leads to poor decision-making, reckless behavior, and increased vulnerability to crime, as warned by the American National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, 2025. Allowing unrestricted access to alcohol jeopardizes youth well-being and increases engagement in violent crime and drug use, which are common during festive seasons. According to Katz et al. 2023, in their study, Delinquency, Drug Use, and Gang Membership in the English-speaking Caribbean, 80% of Dominican youth reported involvement in violence and alcohol use, ranking second among Caribbean nations. This data shows that Dominican youth are not only at risk of victimization, but actively participate in heavy drinking, particularly during events like Carnival and the World Creole Music Festival. Despite Dominica's legal drinking age of 18, bartenders rarely check IDs, serving alcohol to anyone and everyone without question. They seem to forget the simple fact that rum not juice. This is illegal. This is a crime. This is not mere speculation. In fact, the World Bank 2020 estimated that Dominicans aged 15 and older consumed an average of 5.02 liters of pure alcohol per person. What's more disturbing is that teens young as 13 are consuming alcohol. My opponents, let's not be hypocritical. You have heard and seen the body for the body stories and videos. Vodka is a popular alcoholic drink that contains 27% of alcohol. My classmates and peers regularly boast about their indulgence in this alcoholic drink at festive activities. This is illegal. This is a crime. In fact, studies show that the consumption of alcohol increases during late night events. A study by Labhat et al. 2023 showed that alcohol consumption typically ramps up in late evening after 10 p.m. and peaks around midnight to 2 a.m., especially on weekends. Thus, if a 9 p.m. curfew is implemented, there will be fewer unsupervised opportunities for adolescents to participate in underage drinking. There has been success in the implementation of curfews. This will bring me to my second point. Let us examine some of the successes. Imagine a country where minors are significantly less involved in crime, and parents can sleep peacefully at night, knowing their children are safe. This is a reality in Brazil. A study titled Juvenile Curfew and Crime Reduction, Evidence from Brazil by Caraza et al. 2020 found that in the city of Fernandopolis, curfews for minors led to a 91% reduction in theft and firearm possession among juveniles. In cities that adopted similar curfews, there was an impressive 17.9% decrease in theft rates, a remarkable achievement, considering that theft is one of the most common juvenile offenses. Similarly, in Dominica, a 9 p.m. curfew could serve as a proactive shield to reduce juvenile crime during festivities. Let's imitate Brazil by being proactive. Caribbean nations have already implemented similar measures. According to the Observer 2024, Antigua and Barbuda implemented a minors' curfew on October 1st, 2024 from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. under the Small Charges Act to curb loitering and youth crime, with parents facing fines of up to 5,000 EC for violations. Also, in St. Kitts and Nevis, the Criminal Law Amendment Act mandates a 10 p.m. curfew for minors under 16, with strict police enforcement, a clear signal that Caribbean governments take youth protection seriously. Let's not forget that Dominica has enforced curfews before, during carnival celebrations and the COVID-19 pandemic, successfully preventing street violence and ensuring public safety. If curfews were effective in those situations, why not implement them now for the safety of our children during festive seasons? The evidence is undeniable. A festive season curfew helps prevent underage drinking and prevents juvenile crime before it happens. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you this. If we can take a simple step to protect our adolescents, why wouldn't we? A 9 p.m. curfew for adolescents under 18 during festive seasons is not just a good idea. It is a necessity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dover. For the judges, her time was 7 minutes and 59 seconds. I'd now like to call on the second speaker from the opposing team from the Portsmouth Secondary School, Ms. Roxanne Andre, to the podium. She has 7 minutes in which to do so.
Madam Moderator, esteemed judges, worthy opponents, and my fellow audience, imagine the vibrant streets of the capital city, Roseau, on a typical Carnival Monday. The island's renowned bouillon music filling the air, the drumming of Lapo Cabaret bands, a kaleidoscope of colors brought to life by the Amnesia Costume Band and towering Babwa dancers. The dazzling costumes, intricate face paint, and rhythmic movements to local calypsos create an unforgettable Dominica real mass experience for adults and youth who turn out to celebrate. Now, picture this. Young people forced indoors by 9 p.m., stripped of the chance to fully engage in their culture and community. Ladies and gentlemen, this curfew is not just unnecessary, it is unfair and a violation of rights of responsible adolescents. My teammate has outlined key arguments against this restriction. I will now expand on 3 critical points. Its disregard for cultural traditions, its infringement on young people's rights, and its negative impact on festival profitability. A major reason why it is unrealistic to impose a 9 p.m. curfew on adolescents under 18 during festive seasons is that it disregards the cultural significance of these events. Dominica's rich cultural heritage, shaped by historical influences, is expressed through various traditions, festivals, and music. Take Carnival, for example, a celebration deeply rooted in our history. Carnival began with African slaves who, following the abolition of slavery, used the festivals as a powerful expression of their newfound freedom. They celebrated with masquerades, dancing, and singing in the streets, turning Carnival into a symbol of resilience, joy, and cultural identity. To impose a curfew during such an event would rob the youth of the opportunity to connect with their heritage and fully experience the traditions that define who we are. Cultural participation fosters pride, unity, and an appreciation for our history, values that cannot be taught from behind closed doors. Therefore, restricting adolescents from experiencing these significant moments undermines the very cultural fabric that makes Dominica's festivals meaningful. Another reason why we oppose such restriction is that it violates young people's fundamental rights. According to a United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNCRC, Article 15, and I quote, "State parties are to recognize the rights of the child to freedom of association and to freedom of peaceful assembly," end of quote. By enforcing a 9 p.m. curfew, the government will be restricting adolescents' ability to freely participate in cultural events and community celebrations. Festival provides opportunity for young people to engage in their culture and express themselves in a positive, community-centered environment. Furthermore, Article 31 of the UNCRC states, and I quote, "Children have the right to rest, leisure, and engage in cultural and artistic activities." End of quote. A curfew would directly limit their ability to experience and appreciate Dominica's vibrant traditions, which are deeply embedded in the nation's identity. And while my opponents may emphasize the need for safety, the blanket restriction of movement infringed upon the rights of responsible adolescents who are capable of participating in these events without engaging in delinquency. Thus, a 9 p.m. curfew will not only be an overreach of authority, but also a violation of internationally recognized rights that protect the freedom and cultural participation of young people. Finally, imposing a curfew on adolescents under 18 during festive seasons will negatively impact the profitability of festival events. To elaborate on this argument, let us examine the demographics of Dominica's population based on age distribution. According to an article issued by the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO, 69.2% of Dominica's population falls within the 15 to 64 age range. This group represents the largest segment of the population and is also considered the major contributor to the island's economy. Given this reality, how would restricting a significant portion of this economically active segment benefit the profitability of these events? My worthy opponents, have you ever considered the substantial financial investments made by entities such as the government of Dominica and corporate sponsors in these festivals? What profit would they and local vendors gain if a restriction is placed on patrons who are most likely to attend and spend at these events? And before you even question the spending power of the youth, let us not overlook the fact that many of them receive allowances and work part-time to sustain their leisure activities. They are not just spectators. They are active consumers who contribute to the financial success of these festivals. During an interview with Dominica News Online, Marva Williams, Chief Executive Officer of the Discover Dominica Authority, DDA, confirmed, and I quote, "Like previous years, the 2024 World Creole Music Festival reflected significant growth." End of quote. Why jeopardize the viability of our festival celebrations based on superficial premises when the evidence clearly shows that youths, not excluding adolescents under 18, are the cornerstone to the success of our festival events? Instead of limiting youth involvement in festival celebrations, measures should be taken to ensure safe participation, such as increased supervision, designated youth zones, and community policing. We should also focus on empowering them to make responsible choices and contribute positively to festive celebrations. Madam Moderator, it is for this reason that we remain unwavering in our stance that a 9 p.m. curfew should not be imposed on adolescents under 18 during festive seasons in Dominica, as such an action disregards the cultural, economic, and social significance of youth participation in these events. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Andre. For the judges, her time was 7 minutes and 44 seconds. So this concludes the prepared arguments segment of the debate, and coming up next is the rebuttals. But before I allow the 5 minutes of silence that the debaters require to prepare their rebuttals, I'll give them a little lead time by letting you know who the sponsors of the Intersecondary Schools Debating Competition are. We are primarily sponsored in this year's competition by Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited through their brands Quenchy and Tuapito Water. But we have several other sponsors as well: the National Bank of Dominica, Republic Bank, Jay's Bookstore Limited, the Wasco, DBS Radio, Q95 FM Radio, Domlec, Moran Company Limited, the National Cooperative Credit Union, Fortian Hotel, HHV Whitchurch and Company Limited, Lindomart, the Insurance Company of the West Indies, Fine Foods Inc., and the KFC. And this afternoon, we have two special sponsors, one Finance Focus, providing prizes for the best speaker, and the watering can, some prizes or tokens for the judges. So thank you for sponsors and their support thus far. So I've given a few, I would say, additional seconds of rebuttal preparation time, but now the timekeeper will officially set the clock to 5 minutes to allow the debaters to prepare their rebuttals. Please indulge them by being as quiet as you can be whilst they try to make their preparations for the last segment. Thank you. So the 5 minutes are up. I will stall for just a little bit more time and let you know that the judges in the prepared segment, some of the criteria that they utilized to score the performance of the debaters were soundness of points, logical development, audibility and clarity, posture and personality, and command of material. But for the rebuttal, which we are about to hear now, they will be looking for, that's the judges, team coordination, general analysis of debate, recall of points, the ability to refute the points, and lastly, spontaneity. So these are the criteria the judges will be using to score the rebuttal. And I think I have given maybe about 10 minutes now, so it's time for the rebuttals. First of all, I'll call on the proposing team, the Pierre Charles Secondary School, the lead speaker from that school, Ms. Shenika Alexander, to come to the podium to deliver her rebuttal. She has 3 minutes in which to do so. Ms. Alexander?
Good afternoon to all once again. Judges, my teammates and I have been listening carefully, and we are shocked that our opponents' arguments reflect such lack of concern for the safety and protection of Dominica's adolescents during festive seasons. My opponent stated that a 9 p.m. curfew denies adolescents freedom and that it limits social interaction. However, we are not suggesting a ban. We are not suggesting that adolescents should be banned from enjoying their culture. We are simply saying that there should be a curfew to ensure the safety of adolescents during unsafe hours, so that simple decisions don't become permanent mistakes. Lastly, my opponents also mentioned that a curfew undermines parental authority. Well, the opponents, not all parents are responsible, and that is why the state imposes legal measures to protect children and adolescents. Would you agree that if a parent chooses not to send their child to school, it is merely a private matter? No. When parents deprive their minors from basic education, it is illegal. Social welfare will intervene, and custody may even be lost. Judges, we are proposing that this should be addressed. The reality is that some parents either are completely absent or just too drunk during the festival seasons to maintain their adolescent children. But the state still has the responsibility to ensure all safety of adolescents during drunk driving festive season, because the law supersedes over parental consent. This is why we should stand resolute that's why we stand firmly in the fact that a 9 p.m. curfew for adolescents under 18 should be implemented during Dominica's festive season. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alexander. For the judges, her time was 2 minutes and 31 seconds. I'd now like to call on the lead speaker from the opposing team from the Portsmouth Secondary School, Ms. Malia Etienne, to the podium to deliver her rebuttal. She has 3 minutes in which to do so. Ms. Etienne?
Good afternoon once again. My teammates and I have listened, and we have recognized multiple flaws in our opponent's case which stand to be refuted. It is obvious that their whole argument is built on assumptions rather than concrete evidence. Firstly, you mentioned the negative impacts of late-night festivities on adolescents' academics. Expecting adolescents to prioritize schoolwork over these events is simply unrealistic. Good academic habits is something that should be developed throughout the year. In addition to this, most of the festive seasons in Dominica occur during breaks or holidays from school, disregarding these points. And finally, you mentioned the lack of safety. A curfew assumes that all adolescents are at risk of being involved in or victims of crime, which is not necessarily true. Instead of restricting their movements, law enforcement should focus on addressing the causes of crime, such as poor policing, inadequate security measures, and lack of proper event management. These flaws only go on to affirm our stance that there should not be a 9 p.m. curfew imposed on adolescents under the age of 18 during Dominica festive seasons. This restriction will only negatively impact the psychological well-being of adolescents, strain the law enforcement, undermine parental authority, along with disregarding cultural traditions, infringing on adolescents' rights, and threatening the profitability of these events. Our adolescents have done nothing to impose such harsh restrictions. Why should they be punished for the actions of others? I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Etienne. For the judges, the time was 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So, ladies and gentlemen, students, we are at the end of the competition here between the Pierre Charles Secondary School, ably represented by Shenika Alexander and Myra Dover, and the Portsmouth Secondary School, ably represented by Malia Etienne and Miss Roxanne Andre. Please give all the debaters a big round of applause. So now, all the work has been completed by the debaters and judges. It's time for your work to begin. So I'll ask for the judges' assistants to escort the judges out of the room to the room in which they will deliberate and return in swift time with our results. So Ms. Drago, please escort the judges to their deliberating location whilst they do the work that they have been tasked with this afternoon. Thank you, judges. I'd now like to ask the debaters to return to their teams, to their classmates in the audience. Your work is done. You can take a deep sigh of relief. You have completed your task, and now it's up to the judges, so you can return to your seats in the audience and join your teams whilst we have a discussion on the topic. So debaters. Thank you.